Dum Diversas 1452, how your parents were enslaved. Okay, I want to make a quick video going about Dum Diversas, which was a decree made by Pope Nicholas V. In this decree, basically, he authorized, that's the Catholic Church authorizing the capture of Saracens and pagans, that's people who are non-Christians, to capture them and put them into perpetual servitude. That is slavery forever, and their successors forever. So I'm going to quickly read this one from Wikipedia, then I'm going to go on to another article. I want to make it fairly quick, but to explain everything as I go along. Okay, Dum Diversas is a papal bull issued on 18th June 1452 by Pope Nicholas V. It authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to conquer Saracens and pagans and consign them to perpetual servitude. Pope Calixtus III reiterated the bull in 1456 with Inter Caetera, not to be confused with Alexander VI, renewed by Pope Sixtus IV in 1481, and Pope Leo X, that's the 10th, Pope Leo X, in 1514 with precise denotinus. I don't know, I probably said that wrong. I know I said that wrong, but who cares? The concept of the consignment of exclusive spheres of influence to certain nation states was extended to the Americas in 1493 by Pope Alexander VI with Inter Caetera. Right, 1493 is also an important date because, as you know, you should know that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. He then returned, telling Spain, the empire, or whoever you want to call them, the crown, about what he saw in the Americas. And what you have here is in 1493, the Pope has extended the papal bull Dum Diversas to include the Americas. This is when they're enslaving everybody. So what I found was I found an translation from Dum Diversas, which was translated into English. It comes under this title here, and I've got it there. So they're translated into English. I've already blown it up on screen, and it's all through here. But I'm just going to read through some of the parts. It's a bit verbose. Okay, where are we going to start from? Okay then. Okay, Your Royal Majesty, in the most sacred intention of his kind, we grant to you the full and free power through the apostolic authority by this effect to invade, conquer, fight, subjugate the Saracens and pagans and other infidels and other enemies of Christ, and wherever establish their kingdoms, duchies, royal palaces, principalities and other dominions, lands, places, estates, camps, and any other possessions, mobile and immobile, goods found in all these places and held in whatever name, and held and possessed by the same Saracens, pagans, infidels, and the enemies of Christ, also realms, duchies, royal palaces, principalities, and other dominions, lands, places, estates, camps, possessions of the king or the prince, or of the kings or princes, and to lead their persons in perpetual servitude, and to apply the appropriate realms, duchies, royal palaces, principalities, and other dominions, possessions, and goods of this kind to you and your use and your successors, the kings of Portugal. Right, that's the first Dum Diversas, and basically what they are saying is every single person, doesn't matter what they are, principalities, kings, kingdoms, this and that, all of the possessions, whoever they are, wherever they may be, you take them for yourself, and you give them to us as well, and put them into perpetual slavery. That's what it is, perpetual slavery. So we can just simply just go to etymology online. If the internet's slow, my bad. Perpetual. So you just, it's not that hard. Perpetual from old French, 14th century, from old French perpetual, without end, perpetual servitude, and directly from the Latin perpetuus, whatever, universal, in medieval Latin permanent servitude, continuous universal servitude. Okay, to seek the aim of relating perpetually. So that's what it is, perpetual servitude. So they're not stopping there. So I was looking through a few books, and one of the books was that I found was called Cosmology in 4 books, containing the choreography of the history of the worlds. And I was just reading through it, and I came across a name. The name was, as you can see down here, Fernando de Soto. Now, when I type in Fernando de Soto, it puts up Hernando de Soto. It's the same thing, same person, and it would just tell you Hernando de Soto was a Spanish explorer and conquistador. So now we're going to go into what they done with their Christianity and what they were doing, because most of the time we're thinking, oh, they come down there, they saw the image of Christ, and then you instantly thought that. No, what they were doing was, this person came down there and he came with a book. This Hernando Soto, he came with a book, and he said that he was the Son of God. He came with that Christian bullshit. He said that he was the Son of God, and the rest of them was coming and saying that they were immortal. So he's coming like this, be Jesus. There's Hernando de Soto, there be Jesus, and he's coming with his book. Look, there's he again with his book. So this man is telling you that that he's the Son of God, and they're coming to Christianity. So just to remind you, look, that's what he's coming like. You know what I mean? So let's not make no bones about it. He's saying that he is the Son of God, and this is how they're gonna come take your shit, basically. So we're gonna read a little bit, because it's a long book. And so this is where they're talking about the people in Florida, because when the Spanish invaded in like the early 14th century, they were coming up through Mexico, working their way up. So this one they're talking of the people, and they say they are crafty also, and very intelligent, as apparent by the answer they gave to Fernando de Soto, a Spaniard who was here among them anno 1594. That's a typo. That's a typo. They do explain that's a typo earlier in the book. For when he went to persuade the people that he was the Son of God and came to teach them the law, not so, replied the Floridans, for God never bade thee to kill and slay and work all kind of mischief against us. So this is him trying to convince the people that him himself, along with many others, coming like that, are coming like they be Jesus. You know what I mean? Coming with that bullshit. You know what I mean? And for a start, I don't want to hear about no Jesus, nothing. You know what I mean? He's like, just don't. You know, let them keep their rubbish. Keep that. Okay, so I've got a few bookmarks up here. Hopefully this will come up properly. Oh, I bet it doesn't. It doesn't, does it? Oh, I'm gonna have to move this one down there. Sorry, and put you back up again. Okay. So we got number 2. So that's them saying that they're God, or the Son of God, with their nonsense. And on here you've got them pretending to be mortal, or the people thinking that they were mortal, probably because they saw the weapons and the armor and stuff like that. So this is one of them. So ignorant. Oh yeah, I can't go like this because it will do that to the screen. So that's why I don't underline it. So ignorant they were of all things which they had not seen, that they thought the Christians to be immortal, wondering exceedingly at the sails, masts, and the tacklings of their ships, themselves knowing no ships or other vessels, but huge troughs made of some great-bodied tree. But this opinion of the Christians' immortality, in the sense they meant it, did not long continue, for having taken some of them, they held their heads under the water till they had quite choked them, by which they knew them to be mortal like other men. Basically, throughout the book, you can hear them doing untold stuff to the people that was there. That's you, and they thought they were said to be immortal. They're given that impression, and after basically having enough of their bullshit, some of the people grabbed some of the Spaniards, held their head underneath water, and said, immortal this. So, so that's that one there. Okay, number three. Okay, so here's another account of what they were doing. They were just they were just going around. They were just baptizing people in the halls. One telling them nothing, just absolutely baptizing everybody. Another one over here is, but their numbers are much diminished. Sorry, but their numbers are much diminished since these late discoveries. The Spaniards behaving themselves most inhumanely towards this unarmed and naked people, killing them up like sheep appointed to the slaughter, or otherwise confining them to the mines and works of drudgery. Very important, because we're going to come back to that. Confining them to in their mines and works of drudgery. And had not Charles V ordained with most Christian prudence that the natives should not be compelled to work in the mines against their will, but that the Spaniards should provide themselves of slaves elsewhere. Now this is important because they're talking about a region, meaning that if they are in Bolivia, that they're talking about those natives. They're not talking about natives throughout the whole of the Americas. They're just talking about just that region there. Go get some slaves from somewhere else. So if you're in Bolivia, you need some slaves. Go to Peru. Go to Mexico. You know, get them from there, and then bring them down. That's what they're saying. Okay, should provide them natives in a little longer time has been exterminated, to the great reproach of the Christianity and the gospel. For so exceeding barbarous and bloody were they at their first coming thither at Jefe, I don't know, a nobleman amongst them persuaded to embrace the Christian faith. This was a nobleman amongst the natives, or people who look like you, or maybe even some of the Mongoloids that was there. There was some other people there. We know there was a few other people there. So they persuaded this nobleman to embrace the Christian faith and demanded first, what should he get by being of that religion? And he was answered that he should get heaven and the joys thereof. Then he would know what place was destined to such as if he died unbaptized. And he was answered, they went to hell and the torments of it. Finally asking unto which of these two places the Spaniards went, and being told they went to heaven, he renounced his baptism, preferring that he would rather go to hell with the unbaptized than to live in heaven with so cruel a people. So that's him rejecting that nonsense. The rest were driven onto the font like so many hordes to the watering place, and received into the church of Christ without any instruction, insomuch that one old friar, as himself counted to Charles V, had christened 70,000 of them, and another of the rank of 300,000, never acquainting them with any of the articles of the Christian faith. So basically they're just baptizing them, just fuck it, just make them Christians, don't tell them nothing. Okay, so that's what they were doing there. Now we've got another bookmark there. What they were doing is here's another interesting one was the people. Right, they were baptizing the people, and they needed to go and take them from all other places. And now it gives you a brief description of what the people look like. Now this one talks of, I believe, 3 different people that you need to pay very attention. So touching the original of this people, it is most probable that they descend from the Tartars. So they're talking about Mongoloids, from which there are some arguments of special weight. For first, it may be proved in the way of negation that they came not from Europe, as having no remainders of the arts, learning and civilities of it, meaning that they're uncivilized, so they can't be from Europe. And secondly, that they came not from Assyric, Africa, in regard they have no black men amongst them, except some few which dwell on the sea coasts over against Guinea in the land of the Negroes. Now, except some few which dwell on the sea coast over against Guinea. So if Guinea's over here, against it's going to be here. So they're not on Guinea, they're against it. I'm thinking that's the east coast. You can go more into that one there. That's the actually east coast of America, which is against that coast. From whence, okay, from the against Guinea in the land of Negroes, from whence they are supposed to have been brought hither by some tempest or other. So now he's saying that there's no black men, but they've got these black people up in the coast against Guinea, land of the Negroes. So they're against that coast, they're not alongside it. So he's talking about the east coast of America. And he's also saying that basically they're supposed, because he doesn't know, this is like 15, 24, 40, 50 years after the first arrival, supposed to have been brought hither by some tempest or other. So if you want to know what they're talking about, we go back into here and we go and put in tempest. So we go into tempest. Come on. Violent storm. Now we can go through weather. See, there's nothing else in down here. So basically, violent storm, tempest. So reading this one correctly now, it's now saying that these people has been brought over by some violent storm, tempest or other. So these black people, look, have no black men amongst them except some few which dwell in the sea coast over against Guinea in the land of Negroes, from whence they are supposed to have been brought hither. So coming from over there, that's what they're saying, by some tempest, violent storm or other. So now he's talking about America. This is, again, so he's basically, from what I'm reading of it, there's so-called quote-unquote black people there. Now, I'm not saying Negro because he actually goes into that and it's making a separation between the two. I'll go further into that one there. Okay, so this one here. Okay, the blackness of the skin. Okay, so when it starts talking about the people, again, it's talking about more than one person. Of the complexion, most of these Americans were reasonably fair and clear, little inclining onto blackness, notwithstanding that a great part of this country lieth under the same parallel with Ethiopia, Libya, and the land of the Negroes, so that the extraordinary heat of the sun is not as some imagine, the cause of the blackness. Okay, now we're going to come into some Christian bullshit here. Though accidentally it may turn the skin into such a colour as we seen in many country lasses, even in colder climates. Whole faces are continually exposed to the sun and weathers. Others more wise in their own conceits, but in nobody's else will have the natural seed of the Africans to be black of colour, and contrary both to sense and reason, experience and true natural philosophy being both against it. And some will have this blackness laid as a curse of sham. They're talking that nonsense. Curse of sham, from whose posterity the African nations do derive themselves. Because forsooth, he had carnal knowledge with his wife and blah blah blah, and the ark and the ridiculous attempt. So we must blah 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 blah. So now they're talking about another type of people. because over here he's talking about the complexion being fair. Now he's talking about these ones having natural seed of Africans, being black in colour because of the sun. Now what they're saying is, now to give you an example, stupid as it may be, is what they're saying is they're getting dark by the sun. Now I was working in the sun over the past month, you know, in 30 degrees, that's like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, and the sun got me very well, and got my arms, got my face, you know, going up there's, you know what I mean, look at my face, look at the top of my arms, you know, what can I say, completely different colour to my face. So that's what he's talking about when he's talking about the blackness, you know what I mean, fruit accidentally may turn the skin into such a colour, you see. So that's roughly what he's talking about. Okay then, so we're now going to go on to number 5 more. Oh, not yet. We're not going to hit upon him just yet. No, number 4. This is what they were doing in they were taking people and they were moving them from other places. Okay, so this one, places of most important, Maracapana, I can't pronounce it properly, you know what I mean. If you listen to my accent, yes, I am from the UK, my parents are from Caribbean. Please don't confuse me with no Negropean Moors. Don't, just don't. Okay, so if my accent sounds funny, anyway, Maracapana, that's in Venezuela. The furthest post upon the east, and one of the best of all this coast, in which the Spaniards of Cubanana, whatever, but that's Cuba, had once a garrison under colour of defending the country against the savages. So they had a garrison in Cuba, Maracapana, and Venezuela, and it was under the pretense of defending against the savages, but in plain truth to use it for an opportunity to seize upon their persons and carry them away for slaves. These parts are hereby unpeopled by them, meaning unpeopled. So basically, this one is saying that, well, the people are, you know, they're going to take people away as slaves. You know, you can't take it from one area. I mentioned that. They can't go to, they've done their mines, they've slaughtered all the people, worked them to the bone. They need to ease up on the people who's in that local region, the local natives, and get them from somewhere else. So now they're talking about going to these places, Cuba, Maracapana, Venezuela, and taking slaves. That's what they're doing. So again, back to earlier, I was mentioning Hernando de Soto. When I was going through Hernando de Soto, I was just reading through, and I swear, please let me find his name. Oh, I bet I don't find his name. Okay, maybe I can't find his name, so what I'll do is I'll put in, there you go, found it. I was reading through and I came across this name, Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon. So I thought, you know what, let's have a look at Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon, and put his name inside a few books, and up popped this book, which is called Geographical Dictionary. I'm not going to read the full title because a lot of these titles are like over 100 long, so I'm just trying to bring a few receipts as to what was happening. So this is Lucas Vasquez. The whole country is flat. He's talking about Florida now. They're now going into Florida. The whole country is flat and abounds with rivers which make it over moist, but towards the sea it is more sandy. In 1520 and 1524, Lucas Vasquez invaded this country to find men to work in the mines. In the year 1528, Pamphilus, whatever, that's Latin, travelled over it in 1528. Ferdinand de Soto went thither after Peru was conquered with 300 horse and 400 on foot to look for gold. So this is this Lucas Vasquez going into Florida to find people. So Lucas Vasquez, find a connection with. There's Lucas Vasquez, find a connection with Fernando Soto. Because they're all travelling around the same time. Look at the time, look. There you go, born 1475, death 1526. Spanish is born. There's another conquistador. So we've gone from that past now. Another book which was to do with Fernando Soto was The Discovery and Conquest of Terra Florida by Don Fernando de Soto and 600 Spaniards. Now, this one talks about, again, inside there, Lucas Vasquez, sorry, in the background there's got people talking. Right, I repeat again, right, in this book, which was by Fernando Soto, you see this name crop up again, Lucas Vasquez de Leon. Right, the next visit to Florida by Europeans was made in the year 1524 by the licentiate, I don't know whether that is, Lucas Vasquez de Leon, described by Peter Martyr as a grave man and of authority and a citizen of Toledo. This man, wanting slaves to work the Spanish mines, entered into agreement with some of the associates to kidnap a number of Caribs from the neighbouring islands. So that's what they're doing. They're just going there kidnapping people. So the search words I put inside there is slave, and so you can see slaves inside here. So this is what they're doing. They're going throughout the whole of the place, and they're just basically getting slaves from within the Americas. Excursion, there's another slave. Let's get another one. See, look, there's another fruit whereby many people are sustained, and chiefly the slaves, which are called barters. So they're talking about just grabbing basically the Indians, which they're seeing as slaves. Okay, again, Vasquez, and this is more of them. More people, other people, all connected together, just, look. Principal intent was to send slaves from Florida to the island of Cuba. That's that Cubana or whatever one I mentioned earlier. So, see, what else we got here? More slaves, and became hitherto none gotten any slaves. Just more slaves. Basically, you're just taking slaves from the. It's there. You can't argue with it. It's just there. That's what they're doing. That's what the Spanish were doing. They were just taking slaves, going up north, taking slaves. So, when it comes to the slaves, let's get another bookmark up. Right, here is one. See that more as a guide. Let's get him up. This beast. So, reading first from this side, the first discovery of this country is to be. This is the same book. Sorry, Cosmology in 4 books. It's all inside there. Very good book. The first discovery of this country is to be attributed. This is California, Mexico going into California. So we need to understand Iberia. Mexico now going into California. The first discovery of this country is to be attributed to the diligence of Antonio de Mendoza, Viceroy of Mexico, who, desirous to get wealth and honor by some new adventures employed in the discovery of the northern parts, Friar Marco de Niza or de Nifa, by him and by a Negro which he had for his guide. Okay, this country was first made known to the Spaniards. This is their first entry, okay, going into California from Mexico, going to the country was first made known to the Spaniards by the travels of Friar de Marco de Niza, employed on new discoveries by Antonio Mendoza, as said before over here. Leaving Culiacan, that's in Mexico. You can type there and search it. It will come up with Culiacan, something like that. I can't pronounce it over there. The most northern province of Nova Galicia. Nova is new. That's just Nova Scotia. New Galicia. Galicia is in Spain, so this is going to be New Galicia. That is over in Mexico. He overcame a tedious desert 4 days journey. Okay, long. At the end of which he met some people who told him of a pleasant country 4 days journey further, onto which he went, and staying at a place called Vacapa. He dispatched the Negro. He dispatched the Negro. This is not a slave he's talking about. He dispatched the Negro, whom he took with him for his guide to search towards the north, by whom he was advertised after 4 days' absence that he had been informed of a large and wealthy province called Chibola. Chibola is like Mexico. Start going into Texas and that. A month's journey thence, wherein were 7 great cities under the government of one princess, the houses of which were built of stone, many stories high. The lintels of the doors adorned with turquoise, and many other strange reports of their markets, multitudes, and riches. So this is what they're describing, what is supposed to be up there. But, but neither the friar nor the Negro had the hap to see it, the Negro being killed on the very borders, and the friar so terrified with the news that he thought it better to return. Okay, so this Negro. So we need to find out who was Marco de Niza. So with Marco de Niza, I found this Marco de Niza. Now with Marco de Niza, I want to find out who was the Negro. Now it just so happens that I found this name, Estevanico, bam, look, there's that Negro right there. This is their guide, and this guide is known as Esteban de Moor. So this with the Spaniards is their guide. He was there beforehand. So it's terrible. This is just ridiculous. Early life. Let's go north and explode. Okay, so this guide helped them find some other people, basically to find other settlements and stuff like that. So let's have a quick read of him. Estevanico was one of the first native Africans to reach present-day continental United States. That's okay, because they're saying first native Africans. They ain't saying African Americans, you know what I mean? So the person's being very correct there. That's good. He's known by many names, but is commonly known as Esteban de Dorentes, Estebanico, and Esteban de Moor. Mustafa Zemori, enslaved as a youth by the Portuguese, he was sold to the Spanish noblemen and taken in 1527 on the Spanish Narvaez expedition to establish a colony in Florida. He was one of the 4 survivors among 300 men who explored the peninsula. By late 1528, the group had been reduced to 80 men, who survived being washed ashore on the Galveston Island after an effort to sail across the Gulf of Mexico. He travelled for 8 years with this person, I ain't pronouncing it, this person, and also this person, across northern Spain, present-day US Southwest and northern Mexico, reaching Spanish forces in Mexico City in 1536. So he's travelling around, this Moor is travelling around with him. Later, Estevanico served as the main guide for a return exhibition to the southwest. Spaniards believed he was killed in the Zuni city of Harika, or whatever, in 1539. This is only speculative, however, because the 2 Indians who reported back to Friar Marcos de Niza did not see him killed, but only assume he has been killed. Basically, he is considered a discoverer of New Mexico. He is considered a discoverer of New Mexico, Esteban de Moor. This is where they dispatched the Negro. So that's who he is. So who is this Estevanico? Now this is where y'all Pan-African and y'all people trying to colonize people, is like, so this is the Moor that's helping them, and this is look at this. Look at that, Pan-Africa. They're celebrating this person. They're celebrating this Negro. It's either they don't know who he is, or they do know who he is. and they don't care because he can't bring his ass over into America to enslave those people, which was seen. They described the people. So look at it. They're celebrating him, celebrating. Look at that, celebrating him, just celebrating him, and like it's just ridiculous, ridiculous. Okay, it's just a joke. Well, you know, they're celebrating him. I just look at it as just a joke. So here's another funny one. Where has it gone? Here's another funny one. I can't believe that. Look at this. Urban intellectuals, the truth behind the lip. What kind of nonsense is this? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. How Africans brought civilization to America. Look at that, Africa Awakened. Are you serious? So they're talking about the Moors. But as you already know, there were people there beforehand. Black people there beforehand, you know. There were people there who they saying about, you know. Look at that. The blackness of skin. They're telling these people who they are. They're telling you who these people are. They're saying right here. They're saying these people right here. So, anyway, that's a quick one, and that is all come from Dum Diversas. You know, I could have explained a little bit better, but my computer's having a hell of a problems. But in short, you got Dum Diversas, papal bull from the Pope. You know, putting everyone into perpetual slavery. Not everyone. Saracens and non-pagans. That's black people. That's me and you. You've got it down here again, papal bull. You've got inside here explaining inside this book, which is explaining the people, what they look like, including the one that look like Negroes up in Florida. You know, they don't know where they came from. Apparently they came over in a tempest, in a storm. That's where they come from. Yeah, they come, you know, and they're to see they're Africans. They came over in a storm or something like that. You know, so they knew this around 24, 15, whatever. They knew this. What can you say? I'm going to put all the links for the books in the description down below. This cosmography in 4 books containing... This is actually very good. Very, very good. I suggest, you know, reading it. I'm using Google Books because it's easy to read and search, and as you can see, I can make notes, annotations, and everything like that. But at the same time, it's best to download it if you can. You know, inside there is an option. There is an option to download the book in PDF format. You know, at any time the internet can just go off. At least you got a copy somewhere. Okay, you know, maybe if electricity go off, then you're stuck. You know, you can print it off, have it in paper. It's up to you. Yeah, that's it basically. Until next time, thank you very much.